Lieutenant.
This meeting is being recorded.
Okay. Her Majesty's Lord Lieutenant, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Queen's Award for Enterprise and Workshop run by Herts Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Hertfordshire Local Enterprise Partnership. We'll put up in a couple of minutes our agenda for the day so everyone knows where we are. We want a very interactive session. I can't emphasize it enough. You've got some great experts here I'll introduce in a moment. And we just need your questions, please. I'm sure you've got many burning questions. And I will emphasize I've just told we have literally 4 weeks to go from today to get your applications in. So that 4 weeks will go very, very quickly indeed. Anyway, back to the basics. My name's John Woodruff. I'm Head of International Trade and Policy here at Hertfordshire Chamber of Commerce. We did an event on the 22nd of June regarding the Queen's Awards, and we said we'd do a workshop, and here it is. We're good to our word. It's good to see so many people on the call as well. And we also have two patron members of the Chamber, CAE Technology Services and JPA Workspaces, along with some platinum and gold, indeed silver members. So it's really good to see so many of you here today. I think without further, okay, thank you, George. Agenda's come up already, so my welcome. Then we are joined by Sarah Minney, who's Social Media and Stakeholder Manager, and Dennis Nathaniels, Award Manager, both from BEIS, Department for Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy, who are running the Queen's Awards. They're going to be doing a really good presentation, which I've seen advances, excellent slides, a lot of information on this. Please take careful note. That's how to check your eligibility and enter the actual awards. Then we're joined by two fantastic Herts companies, Silent Sentinel and Kane International. We know them very well from the Chamber. They're great. Sorry, somebody got their mic on? Oh, yeah. They're two great companies, both previous winners. Silent Sentinel, Madeline, Marketing Manager there, Madeline Lewis, will talk about international trade, and Jonathan Hall, Managing Director of Kane International, will talk about innovation. Then we have the Q&A panel session. It's Majesty's Lord Lieutenant Hertfordshire, Robert Voss, I mentioned, Mark Breton, Chair of the LEP, who are our co-sponsors today, Sarah, Dennis, Madeline and Jonathan will all be around as well. Then closing remarks from the Lord Lieutenant, and then just acknowledgements from me at the end. So please get your questions in very, very fast indeed, and we'll get through as many as we can. We are planning to take a photograph. Georgia, do you want to take that forward, please?
We are, yes. So if you don't want to be featured in this photo, please turn off your camera now. And then after 3, I will take one. So when everyone's ready, 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed. And as you heard at the beginning as I was speaking, this is being recorded, the session as well, just so you're aware. Right. I think without further ado, minute ahead of schedule, which is always good, over to Sarah and Dennis Nathaniels for your presentation. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. It's really great to be here. So myself and Dennis are just going to go through a bit further in depth of the awards, as like we did last time, a bit more of eligibility and some application guidance. So firstly, the Queen's Awards for Enterprise are the most prestigious awards for UK businesses and is a globally recognised royal seal of approval for UK companies. Since the award's inception in 1965, more than 7,000 companies have been awarded with a Queen's Awards. So why should your business apply? The Queen's Awards for Enterprise emblem is a trusted mark that provides immediate and long-term business benefits. The use of the prestigious Queen's Awards emblem is a recognised royal endorsement that will get your business noticed above and beyond the competition, both at home and overseas. Winning businesses are permitted to fly the Queen's Awards flag at their main office and use the esteemed emblem on their products and stationery for the next 5 years. Feedback from previous winners suggests that winning a Queen's Awards for Enterprise can benefit businesses with excellent marketing opportunities and press coverage, worldwide recognition as an outstanding British company, increased turnover and international trade, a boost to staff morale and also to business partners and stakeholders, and also it can really help attracting a higher skilled workforce. We have a recent research project that investigated international trade winners. This found that an overwhelming 73% of respondents that received an award between 2012 and 2015 directly attributed increased international sales to winning a Queen's Awards for Enterprise. Even those companies who do not win a Queen's Awards on their first attempt can find it a valuable experience. It can give them targets to achieve an additional focus for which to optimise their efforts. I'm now going to pass it over to Dennis, who's going to go through the awards cycle.
Hi, good morning. My name's Dennis. So I'd just like to quickly take you through the awards cycle. So the application process is managed by the Queen's Awards Office of the Department of Business, Energy and Industrial Strategy. The 2023 round of applications opened on the 1st of May and will close on the 6th of September this year. So the application forms are then assessed by a team of independent assessors with experience and expertise in each specific area. So there are 4 separate assessing teams and 4 separate panel judges. In November, those applicants that have been shortlisted by the assessors are notified and asked to provide independent verification of the financial figures they've provided in their application form. Something to note, from the 1st of May 2020, our International Trade and Innovation Panel applications are the only 2 that are required to provide independent verification. That means an independent accountant or auditor must verify their submitted data. Sustainable development and promoting opportunity through social mobility applicants are only required to demonstrate viability and so will not be asked to verify their figures. I would just like to mention that at this stage, getting the independent verification of financial figures is the only part of the application process where applicants may occur a cost. So applicants are also notified that due diligence checks are to be carried out on each of the shortlisted companies. That's actually quite clearly specified in the application form, and it also lists the 41 government departments and agencies which are contacted for due diligence feedback. So in January and February, the assessors' recommendations in each of the 4 categories are examined by the relevant judging panels. A list of recommendations is then sent to the Prime Minister for consideration before finally being submitted to Her Majesty the Queen for her personal approval. Unsuccessful applicants also receive feedback on the strengths of their applications and guidance on how to improve further entries. Many find the comprehensive feedback useful and regularly feedback to say that they found the whole process great for reflecting on their business. The winners are announced to the national and regional press on Her Majesty the Queen's birthday, the 21st of April, and their awards are valid for 5 years. The application process then starts again on the 1st of May. Eligibility criteria. So the eligibility criteria, so the Queen's Awards for Enterprise is a self-nominating process and is open to almost all businesses across the UK, of all sizes and in every sector. It is free to enter, and applying for a Queen's Awards is a straightforward online process. We are open for applications, and again, the closing date I'd like to mention is the 6th of September. There are a few eligibility criteria applicable to all. So firstly, the business must be based in the UK, and that includes the Channel Islands and the Isle of Man. It must file its company tax returns with HM Revenue and Customs, and also ensure the business has a good compliance record with HMRC. This is quite important. It must be a self-contained enterprise that markets its own products or services and is under its own management. It must have at least 2 full-time UK employees or part-time equivalents. And it must demonstrate strong corporate social responsibility. So that's on the environment and society, and strong relationships with employees and customers. So an organization can be a business or non-profit, and each award category has its own additional eligibility criteria. These can be found in full on the Queen's Awards for Enterprise pages of the government website. So slide 5 is how to apply. Okay, so almost all UK businesses, including non-profit businesses, can apply. So the application process is free. An application must be online. Applicants can and do apply for more than one category. The application process for the 2023 awards has, as already mentioned, opened on the 1st of May and will close on the 6th of September. Eligibility criteria and information on how to apply is available on the gov.uk website. So application guidance on innovation. So for the innovation category, the assessors will be wanting to know why your innovation is considered unique and its benefits to your business, to customers, and to others. It is important to specify what issues the innovation has resolved and what challenges have been overcome in developing and distribution of the innovation. So has the innovation been adopted by others in your sector or in other sectors? Those are points to bear in mind. So for international trade, so if submitting an application for international trade, an application should highlight the company's strategy. So that's what they have sought out to achieve, what has been delivered, and their vision for the future. So points to consider are you the first or the leading or the fastest growing UK exporter in the market? Why is your performance better than competitors? What challenges have affected your trade and how have these been overcome? So just as a starting point, substantial growth in overseas earnings with a maximum of 100,000 in overseas sales in the first year of your entry must be demonstrated. So, and following with steep year-on-year growth. Sorry, that's our helpline coming through.
I was going to say that. Yeah, we have lots of calls over to the helpline. Perfect. So just looking at the application guidance for promoting opportunity. The promoting opportunity through social mobility category has been refocused to organisations engaged in enterprise whose core activity is not social mobility, but they have a programme that supports it. So the award isn't aimed at those who have a core purpose to improve social mobility, but not-for-profit social enterprises and charities are welcome to apply. This category recognises businesses and organisations that are providing high-quality social mobility initiatives and programmes that specifically reach out and support people from disadvantaged backgrounds in order to inspire and guide the best talent into their organisation and beyond. Applications should tell us the story of what motivated the organisation to have the social mobility programme and why they decided to develop the programme. Assessors and judges want to see what was the situation before the inception of this programme and how has the organisation helped socially disadvantaged individuals. How has the work benefited your organisation, community, staff and workforce? And finally, how has your organisation benefited the participants and improved the employability of the people engaged with this programme? And then finally, moving on to sustainable development. We have moved away from awarding businesses who simply demonstrate the 3 R's of sustainability, so reduce, reuse and recycle. We really urge businesses to look at the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals to see how they can embed sustainability at the heart of their business. In the Sustainable Development application, you may want to tell us about specific successes such as developing a new product or the process of delivering environmental benefits, or seeing sustainable development outcomes embedded in the organisation, supply chain or community. It is important to demonstrate that your company and or the senior decision makers are leading the way in your sector or community and how they have overcome the important challenges that are specific to that sector. And then finally, we just wanted to mention that we are a small friendly team of 5 who are here to help, and whether that's by talking you through an application form, the process, or helping with an IT system issue. Please feel free to call us or email us using the contact details on this slide. For more information, our blog includes tips on how to develop a successful application. We also have lots of previous case studies from our winners. You can learn about their businesses and how the Queen's Awards has positively impacted their business. And then obviously we've got questions at the end, which we're very, very happy to answer. But if there's quite a specific question, we are happy to answer that over phone or over the helpline email. But thank you very much, and I'll pass it back over.
Thank you very much indeed, Sarah and Dennis, for run through there. I can't see any chat or any questions in the chat yet, so do please start putting them in, but we will open up the screen, say, in a few minutes' time. Meantime, though, very, very delighted, as I said before, to have Science Sentinel and Kane International, Madeline and Jonathan with us to give some top tips as you have won your categories in the past. Who wants to go first? Madeline or Jonathan?
I'm happy with whatever, Jonathan. Whatever suits you. I'm happy to go first if you like.
You're on.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm Madeleine from Silent Sentinel, the marketing manager here. So we won the international trade category in 2020. So I had to remember everything we did to get these hints and tips together, but hopefully these will be helpful. So yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd encourage everyone to enter. We've had great benefits from it. And also once you get into the application mode, I think it was Dennis who mentioned it, actually, it's just really nice and a reflective way to look back on the business and kind of actually realise the achievements that you've had. So when you have downloaded the form, there is obviously quite a lot in there. So the way I would approach it is obviously having a look through, seeing what you're gonna need to know. But when you get to each point, I would suggest looking at the question, properly reading the question, see what they want to know, and kind of break it down. So for me, it was a case of like, okay, let's read the question through, write down a few basic points, and then within that, if you can back it up with kind of some kind of evidence or statistics, something to kind of make it seem like a true point, that would be good. And then kind of saying why that helps. So again, just constantly going back to the question. So I think otherwise you can kind of get carried away and just sort of write a little story and off we go. But trying to keep everything concise, and like I say, backing up what you can with some numbers is always quite helpful. Another way that can be, well, was really helpful for us actually, and it's a little plug for the Chamber as well, is we've entered the Inspiring Hertfordshire Awards for a few years now. And actually, if you do well and you get good feedback and everything, ideally if you've won an award with them as well, then you know your application is good, it's solid, some of those answers can be transferred across. So I think once you kind of get into the swing of it as well, that will help you know kind of how to write and things like that. So maybe, I'm trying to think of the timings now, probably not for this year, but if you were entering excuse me, for a following year, you know, you could always enter some other awards next year, including the Inspiring Hearts, and you'll kind of get into the rhythm of it. So if you have done any previous awards, I would use that as a base as well. Like I said, there's quite a lot of things that can transfer across between different awards. And also I think, although, like I said, you want to make your points and you want to be, obviously it's a very professional, prestigious award, but at the same time, I think it can be important to kind of tell a story and also show some emotion in it. There are people behind the business, and I think people want to know that. So I think don't be afraid to kind of, like I said, show a little bit of emotion within the points you're making and that kind of thing, rather than just keeping it all hard facts. It probably makes it a bit more interesting to read. And I guess similarly, but keep it understandable as well. So again, I won't go into depth as to what we do, but putting it simply, here at Silent Sentinel, we manufacture long-range cameras. So it's really, really technical and probably quite boring to read if I was to tell you everything about the ins and outs of it. But keeping it understandable, using layman's terms, avoiding really, really technical language is good, whilst obviously getting across your point. So like I said, for me, it was talking about manufacturing long-range cameras and kind of where they might be used, rather than the ins and outs of all the technologies that people aren't going to know. So I think, yeah, kind of keeping it understandable for everyone around you. And again, it's kind of keeping everyone involved and like I said, not dropping off your story as well can be quite useful depending on which award you go for and what your business does. And I think finally as well, I put down, you know, sell yourselves, be proud of what you've done. I think it's very easy, like I said, to keep it very business focused and but actually, like if you're entering, you've obviously done something really well. So talk about it, shout about it. I said, put in some figures, some kind of information. I think it's very easy as well to kind of not put yourselves down, but I think it's important actually in this case, do sell yourselves and write down the good things that you have done. You need to get those points across. And like I said, if you're thinking of entering, you know, you have done something well. So I think it's really important to shout about it, which I think, and we're the same, I think a lot of businesses don't do. There is a lot more I could say, but actually I'll leave it there for now because I'm sure obviously Jonathan's got some pieces to say. But obviously we've got the Q&A, and if anyone does want to speak to me after, I've got 2.5 weeks done on maternity leave, but catch me in that time and I will be all yours.
Madeline, thank you very much. There's a bit of noise in the background. I don't know if someone's still got their mic on, but thanks very much. Madeline, thank you. Thank you for the thumbs up for the Hearts Chamber as well about the International Inspiring Awards. Thank you for that. Jonathan, over to you, please.
Good morning. My name is Jonathan Hoole, and I'm the Managing Director of Kane International. And we are based in Welwyn Garden City. And we make flue gas analyzers. So what is a flue gas analyzer? It's a device that a gas engineer will use to test your boiler in your house, your gas boiler, to make sure it's working safely. So what happened in our story is on the 10th of September last year, we applied for the Inspiring Hearts Awards, and we were looking to win 2 awards. One was the Business of the Year, medium to large, and the other one was Excellence in Customer Commitment. And during the evening, the Lord Lieutenant said, applications for the Queen's Award finish on the 22nd of September. And before that, we'd never heard of really, or we never thought of applying for awards or the Queen's Award. It's something we haven't done. We thought, okay, we'll give it a go. So less than 2 weeks to go to the application deadline, I was thinking, which award should we go for? And the one that suited us the best was the Innovation Award. And I was thinking, well, innovation, okay, we design and then make the flue gas analyzers here in Welwyn Garden City, but I couldn't really find a fit for the award. However, I thought, okay, a process. And one of our major competitive advantages over our competitors is our service. Each year, a gas engineer will have to send his analyzer back for service. It's a must. And our competitors usually take 3 weeks. But what we did over the past few years is really bring that lead time down from 15 days, 3 weeks, down to 1 day, investing hundreds of thousands of pounds in software development, website, and our customers really love it. It's our competitive advantage. So I use that as our innovation. The application for innovation was our process. So it wasn't a design, it wasn't a physical product. It was a whole process, the customer service. We call it Gain Care. And basically, I was able to demonstrate using Trustpilot, we have a 4.9 score, that it's our customers really appreciate it. It brought in extra revenue through our service and also increased our sales of our other products. So my advice is, if you think about innovation, it doesn't have to be something physical. It could be something, it could be a process within the business. It's innovative. So that's my top tip.
Sorry, control with my microphone there. Thank you very much indeed, Jonathan. That's fantastic. Thank you. I say two great companies based in Hertfordshire. Well, there's a few questions popping into the chat, which is really good. So it is time now for the Q&A panel session. I'll say we will get round to all the questions. I promise you we'll answer them. That's what you're here for. If I may just start off though, Lord Lieutenant, I know you're going to say a few closing remarks towards the end, but you've met quite a lot of the previous, well, in fact, most probably of the previous winners in Hertfordshire. You've awarded them the prize. Do you have any top tips? I don't want to steal your thunder from later, but do you have any words of advice at all at this stage?
Yes, good morning. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And nice to see Madeleine. And I remember our presentation very well last year. And Jonathan, I'm delighted somebody was listening when I actually talk. It's good to know that not everybody's asleep when I talk. And I'm looking forward to the 21st of October to presenting to Kane. Two words that have been mentioned, and I think the first one I think Madeleine mentioned is tell a story. I'm sure that the assessors will agree. They're sitting there, and I've assessed a lot of things, honours, etc. And you sit there with a pile of applications, and people want to know a story. And Madeleine again pointed out quite rightly, we don't want to know the intricacies of your business, but tell the story, be proud of what you've done. I think that is the biggest tip of the lot. And Jonathan, very interesting, you're mentioning that innovation doesn't have to be something high-tech and specific, but your service won you the innovation. And I think that's another very good tip. Look around your business. There are probably things that you don't realize how good you are at doing, and look at those and see whether they will fit into the categories. I won't go on any further because you've asked me to summarize at the end, but if I had to pick up two tips, those would be the two.
Thank you, and two very valuable ones as well. And just before we get to the questions, Mark, I was going to ask you about the business support Lepken gift companies, but you were telling me before we came on air, as it were, about your you mentioned the Times today. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, good morning, everybody. And can I just sort of underpin and underline our support for these awards? I think it's a fantastic opportunity for businesses here, and businesses in Hertfordshire have normally done very well with the awards. There's some great stories to tell. So I really encourage you to take part. As some of you know, I'm also the chair of the National Network for Local Enterprise Partnerships. There are 38 in England. And we wrote yesterday to the two Conservative leadership candidates to remind them that we're here and to give them 5 key points that we wanted them to consider, particularly to ensure that there is a very strong voice for business in whatever form of devolution and levelling up the candidates bring to the table. I think the most important thing here for businesses in Hertfordshire and around is to re-establish the right level of funding for our growth hubs. I mean, that has been a big success story across the country. Over 2.3 million businesses have come to the 38 growth hubs, which the LEPs own and run. And in Hertfordshire, we do this very closely in conjunction with the university and the chamber. And so the essence of our pitch and plea here is to make sure that as we go through the process of the next few weeks and into the next stages, particularly at these very challenging times, both for people personally and for business, that business is at the heart of what will actually make a regrowth recovery for the country.
Thank you very much indeed, Mark. That's brilliant. Thank you. Right, so without further ado, let's get on with the questions, and do please keep them coming in. The first one is from Paul Dearsty. Paul, do you want to come on and ask your question of the panel, and we'll see who's best placed to answer.
Yeah, morning. Hi, everyone. Yeah, we applied last year and we didn't win. We got some really good feedback on the award. Our approach was a bit thin. We have 800 words in certain places, and we maybe responded with 200, so we weren't probably as detailed as we should be. But our innovation has continued to really fly. It's been developed a bit further, and the sales have absolutely soared. I wanted to double check that we could apply for exactly the same award 2 years in a row. I think there's an answer in the chat there that we can, because we didn't win.
Yeah, that's correct, Paul. Yeah, you can still apply with the same innovation because you were unsuccessful last year. So yeah, that's correct.
Great, thank you.
Lovely, thanks so much. So I realised I started at the bottom, not the top. My finger dropped. The next one from Daniello is a copy of the presentation material is going to be shared at the end. But it is being recorded. Sarah, Dennis, are you happy to send the presentation out? We can do that. Georgia, would you mind making notes?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Can I just
Sure.
mention on the Paul's question? Paul, one of the most important things is to look at the feedback that has been provided, because the feedback has contained the comments that the panel judges have also made, plus the assessing team. So with your future application or your further application, please look carefully at the comments and take those on board. Just a short point. Thank you.
Lovely, thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much. The next one was from Andy, but I think Sarah's already answered that one reading through. Andy, are you content with the answer? Do you have anything else to add at all?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you very much. It was just how innovation-y does the innovation need to be? So you've offered a 15-minute kind of briefing session to give you guys a quick call just to share my thoughts or what we're doing. Whilst the application process be good in itself, there's a lot of effort into it as well, and I want to make sure I do the right thing for the right opportunity. So yeah, thank you very much for that one. The other question I did have, though, which is a bit further down while I'm here, is how important are revenue levels? So whilst it shows about getting your investment back or getting it back within a period of time, is there a sort of a threshold that the panel look at? So does it need to be 1 million, 5 million, 20 million to be to get their attention?
Well, it's not just about necessarily the figures, it's more about the growth. So kind of the steep growth is classed as 20% increase. So they would look at that. It is more specific for the international trade, but still important for innovation. And those figures, as Dennis said, do get checked. Is there anything that you'd like to add on to that, Dennis?
Dennis, see you.
It's the one moment he stepped away from the desk.
No, so I think one of our speakers mentioned about performance and services as part of the innovation. Can I just ask which category you're interested in?
For this year, innovation.
For innovation,
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just about talking about your story. You're talking about the actual figures. Well, Sarah has just mentioned when it comes to international trade, they're looking for 100,000 and then working from there from the first year. But of course, with innovation, you can look at 2 years growth, or you can look at 5 years growth. That's the thing that they'll be focused on, and it's just about telling your stories of the difficulties that you've overcome and various things like that. The challenges, the actual lots of the key ingredients very often are left out in an application, and that's what the assessors and the panel judges seem to always come up with. The panel judges do not get to see your application form. They get a they get a report for that. So when we're at the panel judging session, very often questions are raised, so we actually can bring up your application and then answer it directly to any of the questions the panel judges have. But the lead assessor is also at the panel judging meeting, and any questions the chairman will point to the lead assessor. So that's how the process works.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. No more questions at the moment, which I can't believe. So please do think of some and ask. Can I ask just Sarah and Dennis, why do people fail? What do they do wrong?
Shall I
Well,
go first?
yeah,
No,
go on,
no,
you
no,
go,
you go.
Dennis.
One of the things that they fail on is the lack of detail in their application. They're not really telling a story. They haven't really put much thought and effort into it. The other point that they fail on is the due diligence, and we probably have at least 30 or more companies each or businesses each round that do not get through the due diligence process with the 41 government departments and agencies. Sarah might like to add something more.
Yeah, and I've just noticed, Paul, you asked about would it be worth considering using a professional writer? So what we found is that it's really good just to tell your own business's story, and in a way, can anyone do that as good as kind of people that work for it, or the people that at the head of the business? So we find that sometimes unsuccessful applications have kind of sought an external agency to kind of come in and do their application, and they haven't necessarily grasped that story as well as you could. So yeah, I would just kind of really say, tell that story. Why did you set up the business, the challenges, how you've overcome them, and maybe you're the best person to do that.
And so on that point, I really get that it comes from the heart, and it comes not from a cold writer who doesn't know you. But would it, following on from Paul's question, would it be worth looking at getting not a professional writer as such, but somebody in to actually look at your application, make sure your apostrophes are right, etc., etc.? Does that go a long way? Do you look at that sort of thing to make sure it's written in good English, or is that less of an issue?
We do say that it's good to kind of do it in plain English and to kind of avoid the technical jargon. It needs to be really clear and easy to understand to assessors. So maybe it would actually be worth, getting someone to have a look at it. And if they're not kind of an expert in that sector, can they understand it? And that might be kind of really worth looking at. If they can understand it and they're not an expert, then the assessors definitely will be able to kind of understand everything that's in the application form.
Brilliant, thank you.
Can I just come in?
Come on, Dennis. Yep, sure.
We've worked very closely with some of the lieutenancies, and I always use Yorkshire as a good example. They have individuals that support the lieutenancy, and they tend to go through at no extra cost applications. And I have put one or two people in touch with some of my contacts there. They've gone through an application, and your point, John, on the fact of how they present the application, how the story. It is an very important point. And I know I've been talking to the chairman of the International Trade Forum who supports them, and various other people, and they said, "Oh, I've had a look at this. I've told them how to write." And very often it's the individuals have been speaking to us, and they haven't been successful, and they've very often we get calls on asking, can you please more or less translate the feedback? So coming from that particular point, but it is very important to actually present your story well.
Okay.
Can I,
of
John,
course, please. Yeah.
Whilst I totally agree, and I said at the beginning, telling a story is of prime importance. I'm not here to promote agencies or organizations. I do know that a number of winners have used, what can you call them? Agencies, I suppose, not to tell their story, but to make sure that it's told in the correct manner. I think that's the point. Nobody, as Sarah has alluded, nobody knows your story, your business story, the way you do. That's of prime importance. But it's a matter of getting it across, particularly smaller companies who may not have the experience, may not have the time, may not have the people. So I wouldn't necessarily poo-poo the idea of using an agent. And I know that one or two winners I've spoken to recently have used agencies to good effect. But again, it's your story. but it's just the method of getting that across. And I think that's important. I would also add to what Dennis has said, that through the Chamber and through the Lieutenancy, previous winners, and I'm sure Madeleine and Jonathan will agree, are always happy to help and give advice and mentor. And they are of very great importance, how they succeeded, what they said, how they said it. So if you are thinking of applying, either come to us as the Lieutenancy or to the Chamber, and we will put you in touch with previous winners who I know are very happy to mentor and assist. And I think that's equally important.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. Great point. Madeleine and Jonathan, when you did your applications, did you did it yourself? You Jonathan, you wrote yours, and Madeleine?
Yes,
yeah?
because we had less than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yes, I wrote it. It's about 5 hours. And then our CEO, Jonathan Kane, did the English here, he checked the grammar, etc. And yeah, I think in total 10 man hours it took us to do the application.
Wow. And Madeleine, similar or?
I did ours over a longer period of time. And like I said, basically, we initially started entering awards. It was the Inspiring Hearts that were our first ones. So on that application, I spoke with our MD. Obviously, I've been in the company 4 years, and it's our 20th year this year. So I had 16 years where I really didn't know the answers. So I spoke with some of the directors first, wrote out the application. Like I said, we told our story, and then a really good friend of mine, she's a copywriter. So I just sent it to her, just said, look, can you just, it was predominantly a grammar check. I said, look, can you just check it over? And then after that, I think we won the export award at the Inspiring Hearts. So then I started to use that for the Queen's Award application. But yeah, even then it was a case of some of the questions, speaking to other directors and things, getting their input. And I said, I think we were quite lucky. Unlike for Jonathan, we did it longer than 2 weeks. So I was able to do it over a longer period of time. But yeah, we chose not to use an agency purely because we knew the basis of ours was okay. But having someone else just have a quick check over, like I said, and making sure it made sense. If you've got someone either in the business or, like I said, if you've got a friend that doesn't mind doing it, I would suggest that might be like almost a compromise.
No, fantastic. Thank you very much indeed. Still no questions. Can't believe this. I'll ask a couple of them. So I'm hogging the questions, but please jump in, anybody. In your slides, you mentioned that, yes, that's right, but performance being better than that of your competitors, you had to prove that. How easy is that to do in real terms? I'm thinking 2 examples here. A, is it easy to find out really what your competitors are doing? And secondly, if you're selling your pens in Malaysia and your top competitor is selling them in Costa Rica, you're not really going to have that balance. Sarah and Dennis, how do you get around that?
Do you mean, sorry, kind of how the Queen's Awards puts you in front of your competitors?
In your slides, you mentioned, I think it was under innovation, you've got to prove under your story, you've got to prove how your performance is better than that of your competitors. How do you actually go about that? It's quite a tall ask, I'd have thought.
Do you want to take this one, Dennis, or do you want me?
Okay. What they will be looking for, sometimes innovation will be what they will be looking for is for you to prove that your particular innovation is different, so that you can have supporting evidence from companies and various things. Sometimes people put something in, and the assessing team, of course, the assessing team is not one person; it's a team. And they each put their scores in for the final decision making, and they will mark it on all those particular points. So if you've got evidence to show that your innovation is different, and it hasn't been on the market, they will be looking for those sort of answers in the question. We also have. The system works in a way that the assessing team, if they don't have a specific answer and they feel that they need to ask, or the question hasn't been answered in the way that they'd like to find the information from, we do go back to the companies and say to them, can you speak please give us more detail on this, because the assessors will ask the direct question, then we will get a direct answer, and that is how the process moves forward.
Okay, so I didn't mean to ask too difficult a question for you, but
John,
I just thought, yes, yeah.
For us, how do we do it? We use social media posts and Trustpilot to benchmark our competitors.
Ah, okay.
Lots of people pointed out that how fantastic we were to service their analyzer in one day.
Yeah.
Our competitors took a few weeks, so I just copy and paste the comments from social media.
Okay, yeah, nice, clever way of doing it. And it's good to hear, Dennis, you said that you will go back and ask companies that have applied for specific points if it's not clear, or to make it clearer. That's good to know. Brilliant, thank you. Well, I think time's moved on. Again, no more questions. Mark, do you have anything else to add in at all, or are you?
No, I think I just want to re-emphasize and echo our support. And also, this is a fantastic marketing opportunity for all of the people that bid. And even if you don't win, the work that you will do will really help, I think, crystallize your sales proposition. And that's a worthwhile investment in itself. But I hope you win.
Yes. I don't know if we do a very quick show of hands. Is everybody on the call planning to enter in the coming days? Can we do a show of hands, Paul? I can't see many people that they're blank screens. Anybody put their hands up? Yeah, got a thumbs up from Andy, which is good. Thumbs up from Daniela. Yeah, so a few. Yeah, that's great. But one very last question. Just thought about a percentage, Sarah. A number of people that apply. How many actually? What is the number that actually does win an award? Do you know off the top of your head, or is that a difficult one?
So last year we had 777 applicants and we had 232 awards given out.
Wow.
So it is about a third, so that it is generally about a third.
Okay, that's UK wide, obviously.
Yeah. Can I just add a thing? Can I just add a point, John, please?
Sure.
Yeah, there is no limit to the number of applications. So that is it's open to everyone. It's the quality of the application. And the point that I've made, at least 30 of the companies that were shortlisted failed the due diligence. So that is something to look at carefully. But it's what the assessing teams usually come up with, and the panel judges in discussion, is that the quality of the application. It hasn't really told. They haven't expressed their thing. They've sort of, as I previously think, things that are missing very often is the lack of detail, the benefits of the actual innovation, and they haven't really described the product. And the technical details, the technical challenges they've overcome. Those are points that they need to consider in the application.
Fantastic, thank you. Paul, I just see you've popped in one last question. Paul, do you want to ask it on the screen?
Our year end is December, and the application talks about financial year ends and kind of finalised accounts, which is fine. But our current year to date's been an absolute stormer for our innovation product. Which on the one hand makes me wonder, should we leave it another year? Because then financial year 2022 will show some really big sales figures for our product. Or can we bend the system slightly where it talks about financial years? Can we make financial year 5, the 8 months to the end of August, or 7 months to the end of July, with all the previous ones being the year to December? So it would make quite a difference to us. We can obviously put the words in our application. We can get it in there. Almost as year 6, but I didn't know whether we could bend that slightly.
Yes, can I take this one, Sarah? Yes, we've allowed people to actually go back a year with their figures. So that's taking into account storms and floods of 2020 and COVID-19. So if you can actually push back and use the last complete year as your final year for the application. One other point that I usually say to people is, when speaking to actual applicants, is just be careful about estimated figures, because when the assessing team puts together the case summary, they have used the figures and they've written their case summary on that. When it comes back to the verification of the figures are sometimes very different, and then they've got to change their story before it goes to the for the panel judges. So that's something. And also another point is the panel judges tend to always look at a company's website because they want to learn something more about it. And I've heard panel judges say, well, the website and the application are telling two different stories. So that's a point that make sure that your website is also up to date. And the other thing is that the assessing team tend to do their homework. They go to the company's house records. They often check the company's house figures and statistics, and they will, in discussion with Queen's Awards, they will say, well, there's quite a discrepancy with what they have submitted to Companies House, because Companies House is also one of the government departments that I lead on due diligence checks, and quite a lot of detail we'll discuss with Companies House on what has been submitted.
Rather than us pushing back, we're in many ways we want to push forward. So rather than going back to use our application in the past, we want to bring us right up to date. And we want to, obviously we'll use December 21 as our latest year, but our management figures for this year, which are all fully supportable, you know, got robust accounting systems, I've got no issues with the due diligence process. But could we use the 8 months to say to the end of August 22, which is bang up to date, you know, days before the application closes, and we'll know what our sales figures are because they're based on real invoices. That's not a problem. Could we use numbers as recent as that, or must we use our last year end, which is December 21?
Yeah, you can use figures as up to date as that, but it's the verification by the independent accountant or auditor. That is the thing. Very often companies will say, oh, I can't actually verify these figures, and especially big businesses like PricewaterhouseCoopers, KPMG, who actually do verifications. They very often don't sign it off. They will send us a letter for particular legal reason. But that's the point that you have to whether the figures can be verified.
That's fine, they can. So that's fine. Good.
Perfect.
Lovely. Thank you very much indeed for that. Right. I don't think there's any more questions. Without further ado, Lord Lieutenant, if I may ask you to close the session.
Well, thank you very much. And yet again, a very interesting session. I have to say, I'm always quite shocked at these sessions. There are something like 6.7 million companies in this country. There are over 100,000 in Hertfordshire, and 700 companies apply, and some 200 and whatever it is, 20 receive the award. It shocks me that so few companies take this seriously. Jonathan Hoole has explained that it took him 5 to 10 hours. Well, to win the most prestigious business award in the country, it's not a really terribly long time. And the benefits that I hear, and I do when I make the presentations and I talk to companies afterwards, the benefits are enormous, not only to the bottom line, but it also shows great support to your suppliers, to your customers, to your current employees, and one which I think is very important is to new and prospective employees. Everybody wants to work for a successful business, and the impact is huge. So again, I say it shocks me that so few companies bother to apply for a Queen's Award, whether they don't know about it or whether they just don't think it's for them. So I would add, and I think this has been said already, that the vast majority of the awards go to SMEs and small companies. The figures are well into I think it's 95+%, but maybe Sarah will correct me on that. I've presented to companies of all sorts of sizes, from very large to a company with 3 employees. So nobody is too small. And in all sectors of business, I've said before that probably the most interesting was a fairly small local company to me, who won it, and they are the world's leading restorers of Ferraris. I did remind them that it's not unusual to give the Lord Lieutenant a sort of memento of the award. I got a book, not a Ferrari, sadly. But there are companies of all sorts. So it shocks me how few companies apply. We've been very successful in Hertfordshire in 20 and 21. We won 8 and 9 awards out of about 220, whatever the final figure was. Last year, we did very badly. We only won 3, which is tragic as far as I'm concerned. Now, for the reason I don't know, because some of those were substantial companies, many of them were previous winners, and I only hope that they read from their feedback, and I know 2 of them are going to reapply this year. So I think what my aim has been, I think last year, Hertfordshire companies, I think we had something like 16 applications. Again, I may be slightly wrong. My aim, and I've told my deputy lieutenants this, is to get that number up to 30 and then up to 40. We should have 40 of our 100,000 companies applying. That is still a minute percentage, but we've so many great companies in this county that I really do believe, you know, we are the county of opportunity. I think we are the county of opportunity and entrepreneurship as well. I really do believe that we can go back to the top of the league table as we were 2 or 3 years ago, as far as non-metropolitan counties are concerned. The other things I would say is obviously the presentations are great, great fun and of great importance. People do them in different ways. It gives me an opportunity and some of my deputies to learn about the businesses, which is very important for us. But also I've seen awards where hundreds of suppliers, customers have attended. It's been a very big event. Others make it a fairly small event. I would also say that 3 weeks ago, I attended the reception at Buckingham Palace with not only Prince Charles, but 7 or 8 other members of the royal family. I know Jonathan Kane was there, and it's not only very enjoyable, but it's nice to talk to other winners as well and see how they get on, and very interesting from all over the country and in all different businesses. So really, I think these sessions are very useful. I'm delighted that a number of hands went up to say you are going to apply. I can't see there's any negative in applying. It's a win-win-win all the way around. If you win, it can only be beneficial for your company in terms of bottom line and in terms of personnel and in terms of reputation, particularly if you're an international business. I can assure you when you see the Queen's flag flying on letterheads in the Far East or in America, it is hugely significant, and I cannot stress the significance, and I'm sure Madeline and Jonathan will agree, the significance of being a winner of the Queen's Award. It is the most prestigious business award available, certainly in this country, if not worldwide. So help is available either through the chamber, through the lieutenancy, through the LEP. There are plenty of people to help. If you get stuck or you need somebody to look over it, or you just need some mentoring, we're all there to help. We all want Hertfordshire businesses to be the leading businesses as far as Queen's Award for Enterprise are concerned. And I want to be able to stand up there amongst the other Lord Lieutenants once again and say, we're the top county. So please help me get to that position. So thank you very much. Again, it's been a very useful session, and to all those applying, good luck, and I look forward to seeing you next year when I come and present the awards to you.
Lord Lieutenant, how do I follow that up? Just saying here, obviously. So thank you very much indeed for that. In the closing moments, just to let you know, upcoming events, Women in Leadership, Tuesday, 8th of September, September Chamber Lunch, that's the 22nd of September, Sustainability Conference, Friday, 21st of October. And if I can just plug, we are revamping, I have revamped our export training courses. We've now got 11 training courses on offer. That's all on the website, but please come to me should you need any further information. But let's get exporting, let's get innovating, and as the Lord Lieutenant said, let's put Herts #1 again. May I just now say then thank you very much indeed to the Lord Lieutenant, to Mark, to Madeline and Jonathan giving up their time from their respective companies, and to Sarah and to Dennis from Bays. And thank you all for attending today. And again, reiterating the Lord Lieutenant's words, let's get up there again, and good luck to everybody who applies. And hopefully we'll see you all with those winning banners and winning prizes before too long. Thanks ever so much. Have a good rest of the day, and all the best. Take care. Bye-bye.